Speaking of the county, boy, somebody does so much covering the politics. Happens to be Orange County Registered political reporter Peggy Lowe. Peggy joins us now from the Register building in Santa Ana. How are you,
Hey,
Peggy?
Pegs.
Hi, guys. Happy New Year.
Well, yesterday must have been a lot of fun for you.
It was very busy yesterday. We had the Danley appointment. We had the election of officers. Yeah, we were very busy.
Well, what difference will it make now that John Morlock is the chairman of the board?
Well, you know, the chair can actually set the tone. For instance, during Chris Norby's chairmanship this last year, he, you know, is a history teacher, a former high school history teacher. So he was often going sort of off subject to give asides on whatever history might be, you know, that they connected to the issue they're talking about. It can really affect the efficiency of whether or not a meeting goes fast or slow. I'm sorry, but under Norby, they went slow. So Morlock could actually improve on that. So, I mean, he can really set the tone for the board.
With his relationship with the Sheriff's Department, also dealing with the unions themselves, what kind of obstacles will that put him in that he'll have to face?
That's a great question, Ed, and I have to tell you that the unions are very nervous because John Morlock's plan, which we've talked a lot about, to cut pensions, this so-called 3 at 50, so he would basically slice the retroactive pensions for the deputies union, that's going to come up again at the end of January, and now he's chair, and so he sure will have a little bit more momentum in trying to get that plan passed. So the unions are a little nervous and certainly watchful of Morlock's chairmanship.
Was there any discussion on Orange County Sheriff Michael Carona since Sheriff Carona returned to work this week?
No, there was no public discussion of Mike Carona getting back to work on Monday. When we learned that he would be coming back on Monday, we learned it last week when we were still on vacation. And I talked to a couple of supervisors, and for instance, one of them, Bill Campbell, said, you know, I hope he comes back, spends a couple hours on the job, and then goes back on leave because a federal indictment is just way too distracting for him. He's got to take that time, go do what he needs to do, and let the other people run the Sheriff's Department.
You mentioned something interesting, Peggy. Can he come back to work for a certain period of time, say, 24 hours, and then take another 60-day paid leave?
Absolutely, and it's perfectly legal. That's what the county's lawyers have found. And essentially this leave of absence was something that he placed himself on.
Right.
And he was still kind of working with the office and doing some of the sheriff's work. And then he came back when the 60 days were up, which was this last Monday. So yeah, he had full pay, and he can do it again at any time he'd like.
And is there a limit as to how many times he can actually exercise that option?
Absolutely not. He's an elected official. He has quite a bit of leeway on that.
Okay. Have you heard anything regarding the pressure going to the Orange County Board of Supervisors to maybe have them get involved with a recall of the sheriff?
There's no pressure on the board to get involved in a recall, and I know that keeps coming up, that question, and certainly someone could recall him, but there has been no one to step up. Now, the only one who has voiced any support was John Morlock. He said, I would absolutely support a recall of Sheriff Mike Carona, but I'm not going to be the guy to lead it. I'm pretty busy here at the Board of Supervisors.
Has anybody indicated how active the sheriff will be while he is back from his leave?
No, actually the Sheriff's Department has been very, very quiet, and they will only answer our questions as to, yes, he's back, yes, he's working. For instance, on Monday, he was supposedly at off-site meetings and working on correctional issues. But I know he's also working on his legal defense. The Sheriff's Department is just trying to keep most news, I guess, to a minimum, and they're just not saying very much at all.
Anything new with it's been kind of an ongoing thing with our tax collector, treasurer, Chris Street?
Anything new. There's something new every week. This week, the Supes once again looked at an independent review of the portfolio and these kind of controversial new investments that are called structured investment vehicles. And so they essentially yesterday went ahead with their idea to have this independent review. And when it came back from the company that's going to do it, it was much more comprehensive than Bill Campbell had originally suggested it should be. And Supervisor Campbell said, that's just fine for me because I'm kind of uncomfortable with some of the news I'm hearing right now. And so they're going to go ahead with that.
So, but Bill Campbell, I understand, called over to the Treasurer's office to get more information regarding investment practices and could not get a solid answer to his questions. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right. And I was writing about it on the blog yesterday, for instance, Ann, and I said that he was denied access. And he emailed me last night and he clarified it. And he said, actually what happened is I called over, I wanted some information on these SIVs, that's what they're called, and the office told me that they couldn't disclose that in fact they didn't exactly know what all these SIVs were invested in. And Bill said, that made me uncomfortable. He said, as a regular old investor, I know where my money is, and I get, regular statements on where it is. That our county official doesn't know where the county money is concerning.
Good. Peggy, we thank you very much for giving us our political update. Look forward to talking to you again next week.
My pleasure, guys.
All right, thanks a lot.